As women, we hear the word empowerment often, but what does it really mean? And is there a science behind living an empowered life? My guest, Brennan Ballett, is rocking our world naturally as she shares the idea of empowerment as it relates to nurturing, caring, and loving ourselves. This is not based on the ego, but rests in establishing the fullness of who we are as women so that we can show up fully in every aspect of our lives. Laura provides insight on empowering practices that nourish the soul, such as meditation, gardening, and creativity. We discuss her book, The Science of Empowerment, and the J3 equals E formula, which teaches individuals how to reach the most authentic version of themselves in body, mind, and spirit based on 5 principles through positive, negative, or neutral energy. Let's get into it. When it comes to women's health, there's an overwhelming amount of information out there, and honestly, it can be quite confusing. Diets, fads, trends, which one is right? What if I told you the answers to optimal health can be found in one of the most ancient medical books ever written, the Bible? If you're ready to take the guesswork out of living a healthier life, you're in the right place. Welcome to the Rock Your World Naturally show. I'm Rekishia McMillan, honorably retired Air Force veteran, certified health coach, and award-winning author. After years of trying to recover my health the world's way, I was still sick, depressed, and had no energy. Finally, I surrendered to God, and He showed me in the Bible how to recover my health, and it rocked my world naturally. My calling is to help women who are struggling and burnout to have more energy and lose weight by using God's prescription for physical, mental, and spiritual health. If you're ready to experience extraordinary health, grab your favorite herbal tea or power smoothie, and let's get ready to rock your world naturally. Hello, and welcome to the Rock Your World Naturally show. Thank you so much for tuning in on today. I am elated to host my special guest today, Brennan Ballett, who is going to be sharing information on empowerment. And so I'm looking forward to having an amazing conversation. So, Laura, welcome to our show today.
Thank you. I am honored and excited and full of positive energy to share with the listening audience. So thank you so much, Rekishia, for having me here.
Oh, outstanding. And before we get into the show, Laura, can you let our audience know what you're doing in your world right now that is rocking your world naturally?
Well, that's a loaded question because there's so many different things that I am doing right now. But I would say expanding my personal exploration into what an empowered life looks like for me. I'm a firm believer that we need to go through a process and a journey so we can authentically share that with others. And that is what I work on every day to connect more authentically to what I'm moving through and working towards and how I'm advancing my life so that when I speak and converse with others, there's a realness and an authenticity to the story. It's not just what I want to do and maybe where I would like to arrive. It's an ongoing process of how I'm choosing to live my life every day.
And that's so powerful that you say that because even reflecting on individuals that I've come across, Laura, that when they share their story, there's a different level, there's a connectivity there that whether you can relate to their story with what they've been through, it's just on a deeper level. And so I love the fact that you shared that.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, I do.
Mhm.
I think it's so important. We can read and see things, but until we go through that part of the human condition, right, the emotionality of an experience, there's something about it that settles deep into the soul when we've gone
Mhm.
through it. And again, I just think it lends itself. credibility, compassion, and connection with others. And even if it's not the exact same journey, there's something in the alchemy and the energy that is shared when we experience and share what we're going through.
Mm-hmm. And so, I'm looking forward to the conversation that we're going to have today, Laura, as you're just giving some wisdom and understanding about empowerment. And so, we hear this word all of the time, whether it's women's empowerment or what would you say that for women, what does empowerment mean? What does that look like?
Well, again, this is a loaded question because as a woman, a mother, a wife, a daughter, a sister, moving in and around the global community, there's many levels that we're all up against. There's these consistent challenges as a woman, and this is not to dishonor and disrespect men and their journeys, but for me, the woman energy is very unique, again, built into the human condition. And I really feel that an empowered woman is a human being that finds her own personal, unique, brilliant way to tap into her value, her self worth, not through the lens of anyone else, but when she moves through her day, she is rocking her world naturally in that state, whether she's connected to others, to God, again, universal energies, spiritual practices, how she's educating herself, how she's evolving in her own life. But I truly feel an empowered woman is one that is connected to self, and
Mm,
certainly not in an egoic way. This is really about the exploration into self-love, because so many of us don't get it quite the way we would like, and we're always searching for it right through partnerships or our
mhm,
job and all of that. And I really think when we can quiet it down a bit and find that unique journey, it really does help elevate the way we feel about ourselves, and then we become empowered to support others in feeling really good about their lives.
mhm. And I love the fact that, that every woman, we have our own uniqueness, our own voice, and everyone's path is so different, Laura, that
Yes.
there are very many different variations of what we experience, what we go through in life. But as we walk on that path, as we take those journeys, that's where we really do find out who we are as women and to really walk in and to live, in that uniqueness of who we are as women.
And really owning it in the truest sense, not, finding out who we are through someone else's perception, right?
Mhm,
Judgments. Just again, it comes down to that self-love, and what does that look like? And that is such an individualized journey, and how we go about learning about ourselves. And sometimes I even use the phrase like romancing our spirit. And I mean that in the fullness of it, buying ourselves flowers and beautiful chocolates, or getting some self-care service. And we're always on the go. We're multitasking like mad, especially if you have children or all the various hobbies, jobs, everything we're doing. And I just really think when I started to become what I considered an empowered woman, it was when I started the practice of self-love differently than I ever had in my life. And it really did allow me to open up and expand the way I looked at the world. And I found that when I connected to that part of me, and it really allowed me to connect deeper with others.
mhm.
So I just think it's important.
Oh, absolutely. Because, it's in that self-love that's like the highest form of self-care.
Yes,
Because when we can love ourselves, and as you shared, we truly can love others. We have something to give. We can pour back into others' lives because our love tanks are filled up, so to speak.
right. Yeah, we
Mhm,
have this beautiful and natural, right, ability to self-fill the reserve. But again, even we do get tapped out sometimes. And I think it's just a beautiful exchange of awareness and exploration to continue to find the reserve. And that can be through faith, that can
mhm,
again be through many avenues. But as I grow older and I advance in my skill and my mindset and how I look at the world, I'm finding that it's more important to be connected first and foremost to that journey of love for self.
mhm,
And
mhm,
most people understand, again, it's not based from the ego. It is, as you said, to reestablish the fullness of who we are so that when we do go into the world and into our families and into our work environments, we're really showing up at our highest and best self.
mhm. And so in your personal life, Laura, are there some things that you do to practice that self-love? What are some things that you do?
Yes. So I'm working on getting back into my meditation practice, and that ebbs and flows with life. I started when I was very young, and it's something that I'm consistently drawn to, and I used to go up against it for many reasons. Oh, only people that have nothing else to do have time to meditate, or if I was on my path to becoming a girl monk, I would be meditating every day. And then I realized the importance and the stillness of
Mhm.
slowing it all down. One of my very dear friends, Laura Katanen, always says, slow down to speed up. And
Mhm.
I'm really taking that to heart. But I love meditating in very different forms of it. And
Mhm.
I find that to start my morning, and again, I struggled with it because I thought I had to meditate for an hour in order to achieve something. And then
Mhm.
again, it brought me back to understanding I'm not answering to anyone. This is my personal journey to fulfill that experience of self love. So, whether I meditate for 12 minutes or an hour, it doesn't matter. It's all okay. And I really find that working out physically, and again, the beauty and uniqueness of each human being and women, unique exercising is a very individualized choosing. I happen to have a brother that's a former USA gymnastics coach, and we have a neuromuscular training facility in the family.
Mm.
So I have access to some very unique ways of taking care of my physicality. We work on mind body development all the time. But again, it can be the simplicity of working in your garden, putting something beautiful on, like this podcast, while you're cleaning your home, walking your dog, taking a walk on the beach in nature. Any movement where the mind and body is connecting to the wellness and the overall well-being, I think really moves us. So every day I move my body and I work on stilling the mind and the chaos and the list of everything that has to be. And I really find that those two practices um, are very easy once you open up your willingness to align with it. And the other thing that I do that I truly feel is just such an empowering practice is I am creative every day.
Mm.
Somewhere I find space to become creative. And again, that could be designing a garden, right? Reorganizing your closet. It could be studying Tai Chi, taking an art class. it's such an individualized choosing, but it I think creative energy output circulates back in, and then you have this beautiful flow, this circulating energy of out and in, like our breath. And I find that creativity really sparks possibility and interest, and helps you grow and evolve and certainly advance to the next level of experience.
Mhm. Something that you hit on, Laura, when you were sharing about the busyness of life. And I think that many times as women, because of the different roles that we fill, different responsibilities that we have to carry out or involved in, that being intentional about stopping and slowing down
Mm.
is so critical. And I can very much relate to you because in the morning I spend my time, whether that's reading scriptures, whether that's meditating, like I have to have that still, quiet time at the beginning of my day. Because if I don't have that time where I'm just really in that form of meditation, it just, my whole day just doesn't go well. It just seems like everything's out of balance.
And it's a very unique experience when you start to have a self-care practice and you allow it to be an extension of what I feel the spirit and the soul already knows how it's supposed to be. And you
Mhm.
realize, oh, I've spent decades ignoring that,
Yeah.
pushing it aside, tucking it under, covering it up. And again, there's many reasons within the human condition then that happens, but why that happens, I just think it's so important on an empowering level to give ourselves, I don't even want to use the word permission. I think we can author the
Mhm.
experience uh,
Mhm.
for ourselves, and know that we are creative, brilliant, genius beings, and we really are here to tap in to that force that will allow us to experience again our highest and best self. And it really truly only will come through some form of disciplined practice. And again,
Mhm.
this doesn't have to be, back to the wall, stressing you out. That will, right, contract the experience. But when you understand that by taking a few moments, like you said, whether you're reading scripture or you're just reading a beautiful inspirational quote for the morning, um,
Yeah.
in the science of empowerment, which I know we'll get to, but the book, I have these takeaways, these pop outs. We call them champagne bubbles. And they're these power quotes. And my readership all over the globe, just, it's so amazing who is aligned with which quote and what they're doing and where they are in their life. And they carry them in their pocket or their purse or a briefcase, or some of the parents will put them in a lunchbox or a brown paper bag, or they're up on the mirror, they're on the car seat. It's
Mm.
it's that knowing there's something in us speaking to us, reminding us that discipline is a very beautiful act, I think, of gratitude and faith and connectivity. And again, we bring it around to that authenticity until we experience it and we live it. It isn't quite the same. You need
Mhm.
to go through it to be able to express it, because people do hear the tone, they can feel the passion, they know that this person is just not talking it, this is how they live.
Mhm. Laura, you mentioned, the science behind empowerment.
Mm.
Can you kind of expound on that a little bit for us? The science behind empowerment.
Yes, thank you. And when I use the word science, it really is the word for knowledge, wisdom, elevation, evolution. It's the formula of how we can look at our life in order to advance the way we think about thought, how thought creates wellness or dis-ease within the biology, how it can
Mhm.
support, right, expand or contract our faith, wherever that may be. There's a formula to the science of empowerment. And I always give a heartfelt shout out to my brother Chris. He created the J3 equals E formula. And very quickly, he worked on with very high end elite athletes in his life, in the baseball world, in the football world, in the gymnastics world. And a lot of times, people who are primed already for that mindset material and that skill set and that discipline, they're positioned to take in new knowledge, new sciences, new belief systems more readily than, let's say, the average person, myself. And when I saw the success that Chris was having, he and I began to discuss how can we put this into the mindset, the biology, the actual cellular network of the mass population so that we can all collectively together elevate and start to spark some more light in the darker corners of the world and
Mhm.
humanity. And so this formula consists of 5 principles and the awareness to 3 fields of energy. And when you are in any given situation, no matter what your present condition is, you ask yourself these 5 principles, and then you begin to understand that you're in the power seat of choice of negative, positive, or neutral energy. And again, you can look at it through the eyes and the heart and the spirit of God. You can look at it through science and data and information. For me, it is all the same. Everything comes from that higher source and that higher knowing. However, it trickles into the human condition, I'm all in support of anyone taking in new knowledge, new information. So the science of empowerment is just this beautiful, simple, applicable formula that allows you to start creating a new way of looking at your place within the global family and how we individually can add or subtract value and positivity or negativity, and how every thought we think and every move we choose to create absolutely has direct causation on the whole. And that is basically what the book is about. It is taking the foundation, which is the formula, and then I've created this way of redesigning kind of the architecture of thought and becoming aware that how we think actually affects our own personal wealth, abundance, happiness, and certainly the health of our mind, body, and consciousness, mind, body, and spirit. And so when we realize that how we think affects us, our own autonomy, now we begin to realize it affects my husband, my wife, my partner, my kids, our pets, my neighbor, the school system, the political output, our church. We're all energy beings. And
Mm.
this isn't about science, meaning the differentiation between God and science. This is the God force. This is the universal force. We all have some understanding that there is something at work here. And
Mhm.
so I found a way to take this formula, and I spent 5 years writing The Science of Empowerment, the book, and everything else that's coming from that. And I wanted a way to empower, whether you were 6 years old or 76. And I've had both ends of that spectrum apply the program, apply the coaching, apply the book, apply the formula. And I'm smiling if you can't feel it, because it's absolutely amazing. And any contribution to the upbuilding and elevation of our beautiful humanity, I'm honored and reverenced to be a part of. And this is just my individual way of adding in a bit of a bit of science, a bit of God energy, a bit of universal connectivity. And for those that are willing, it absolutely will expand and advance your life.
Mm. And this book is so needed because we are so bombarded in our world, Laura, when it comes down to our thinking.
Mm.
Um, our limited thinking keeps us stagnated from really reaching the highest potential of who we were designed and created to be. And so having a tool, having a resource such as yours to provide those 5 steps to move beyond that limited space and into an area of expansion is really powerful.
Yes, yes, thank you. And it is. And again, we all have this ability. This, I write about this in the Science of Empowerment. I personally believe it is our birthright to evolve and
Mm,
to do anything less than, and not in a judgmental way, just in an awareness, in an awakening way of looking at it. Every person has the beauty and the power within them to create positive effect on the whole, and to not live a life where you are tapping in or tuning in, aligning to the possibility of what that expansion could look like, is what really was the impetus for me to create this, a way to get the knowledge out, kind of break the code, as you said, of stagnation. We really, truly don't understand how we live in patterns, and we become these walking algorithms of someone else's thinking,
mm,
their input. This is how you should think and feel and be and act and do. And we, from a very early age, we lose that speciality, that individual knowing, right? We look at children and they just believe they can fly. They
mhm,
believe they can change the world and rule the world because there's something in there that, for me, they're remembering.
mhm,
Then what do we do? No, you can't do that. No, you shouldn't do that. Well, you must do it this way. And then maybe if you have the opportunity, you can tap into that way down the road. And I'm guilty of that too. I have 2 beautiful daughters, and moving through all of what we're going through in this world, they're at that age where the woke movement had
mhm.
great impact on them, and counteracting all the political chaos. And
Wow.
um, it was just, I'm not saying that this is a magic formula where you read the book. Even I have, I coach clientele all over the world and speak. It's not, okay, just forget the past or forget your trauma
Mm,
or what hurt you and upset you. Let's just erase it. But what the Science of Empowerment does is it allows you a moment to honor
mm,
everything that happened until this moment.
mm,
And now we empower going forward. We don't drag anything that is unnecessary, non movement, as you said, Rekishia, that word, and I write about this a lot in the book, the stagnation.
mm,
We release it and we begin to move into that realm of thinking, I am capable, I
mm,
am willing, I am brilliant, I am
mhm,
genius. And now we just suspend the doubt and the insecurities and the patterns of what kept us in those states of stagnation, and we just begin to explore the possibilities. We get curious about our own evolution. And when people hear that and they tap into that, you can see it and feel it. Because for many of us, we've never even had anyone say to us, "You're brilliant, you're
mhm,
genius, you are beyond capable of this moment." And you really can use thought to have direct positive effect on how you feel, how you think, and how you respond and move through your days.
mm. This is all just so enlightening and just so powerful, Laura. And so, for those women or those who are listening and they're thinking, I need to move beyond this stage of stagnancy, moving beyond the limited thinking that has challenged me in my life, and to move into this place of empowerment. Where can they find you? Where can they find your book, Laura?
Yes, thank you. So for now, if you go to www.thescienceofempowerment.com, it is a beautiful, copious wealth of information. So even if you just grab a cup of tea on a Sunday morning and visit the website, there's blogs, there's articles, there's all the information about coaching. There's a place to order the book. I have people reach out to me from all over, whether they buy the book, whether they sign up for coaching, it doesn't matter. Anywhere that I can add value and be in service and help for a moment, even at that first glance onto the website, and then everything just sparks from there. And the book will absolutely change the way you think about yourself, your present surroundings, and your potential, if willing and when willing, to tap into your genius state of being. And you can be a stay-at-home parent and tap into your brilliance and change the legacy and the dynamics of your entire family without even moving out of your home,
Mm.
because it's, again, the patterns. This is something I focus on in my coaching, and you can tell even talking about it, we do not have to stay connected to anything that does not serve us and
Mm.
therefore does not serve the greater good. And expanding out, and I say the global family because we know now what happens in a small town in Connecticut absolutely affects someone living in South Africa. There
Mhm.
is an energy, there is a frequency, there is a vibration. However you want to look at it, we are all connected.
Mhm.
And the more we focus on our own personal connection and our faith and our beliefs, and those are all such important aspects of this journey, the better positioned we will be to, again, bring light and love and space. I really do believe for the world at large, and this is what we need to do, at least in my humble opinion.
Mm. Yeah, one of the things that you mentioned, Laura, that I shared earlier with our audience is we are moving, advancing into 2023, and
Mhm.
echoed it right here on this show that we need to let go of those things that are no longer serving us. And those patterns that you talked about, whether they've, been in our family for generations or things that we've picked up from environment, like we don't have to carry those patterns into the future.
No, I really think it is a disservice to our spirit, our consciousness, our hearts. Again, you don't have to jump from being non-aware to, building a rocket and going to the moon. Okay, there's a lot of space here for us, but the smallest movement of awareness and awakening, alignment, connection to source, God, universal energy, science, knowledge, is so important. The old energy from a moment ago has two places to go. It takes up residency and anchors us into the past, or we release it and use it as a springboard forward. And we as an individual have that choice. No one can tell us how to think and feel. It is unto us to create that partnership with our thinking, that partnership with our biology. There's such an amazing network, right? There's an internal GPS system. There is this vast, beautiful matrix of information, right, out in the world. We can enter in to the brain and mind what we know will serve us, our families, and our communities. And again, the global family, the best way. We choose what we listen to, what we eat, what we read. We choose how we interact with others. We are in the power seat of choice 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And when you give that power, and I mean power in the most beautiful of ways, not power positioned to be authoritative over anyone else. This is power for ourselves so that we then can be in a stronger place to serve others. And that knowing of the power seat of choice. And I write about it and I talk about it all the time. So negative, positive, neutral. Which one am I? And in every moment, if you ask yourself that, you get to a point where you realize, I don't want to be answering negative anymore. I want to learn the skill and the discipline of arriving into the state of neutrality, and then to move from neutral to positive is such a beautiful flow. There's so much flexibility and expansion in neutral to positive. We all know what it feels like to be happy and to be loved and to love. Why would we want to be existing in anything other than that? And again, I know we can't be in a state of perfection every single moment of every day, but this is when something comes into our environment and there is a negative energetic structure attached to it. It could be an argument or a fight or somebody not being kind on the road, or you're on the phone with a customer service rep and it's, life, just regular life, something with our partners, our kids. We now can move through the 5 principles and then choose neutral. And it absolutely changes the energetic structure of the experience. And the more you do that, the less connected to outdated, old, antiquated ways of being. You don't find them attractive anymore. You don't find them appealing. There's something that starts to move within you that does not want to be back there anymore. And
Mm.
again, I'm not saying it's easy, but it is challenging to break the mold, right? To break the codes of those algorithms that are really placed in us from childhood and out in society and schools and all that. But again, that's a thought. So I'll challenge the audience to say you can absolutely break them with one thought in one moment and never go back there again. It's a practice, it's a discipline, but it is certainly one worth applying to your life.
Mm. And I think that's such a powerful note to end our show on today, Laura, just to challenging those who are listening to, embrace a better way, a different way. Because 9 times out of 10, many times when we're experiencing these things in life, they may not be working. And so, as you shared at the beginning of the show, those who have a different mindset are open and ready to receive new information or new ways of doing things. And I certainly feel that that is the case, behind your book with the science behind empowerment.
Yes, and again, just to remind everyone, even if you don't understand new science or ancient knowledge, or let's just say someone believes in God but never really, embraced the Bible, or someone maybe has heard of epigenetics but doesn't even know what that means, or there's just so many pioneers out in the world right now working at creating this awareness around human potential. So what I say to clients is suspend the doubt and just suspend it for a moment and allow yourself to go on this exploration of what your highest and best self could look like if you so choose to redesign how you look at your life and your environment. Have fun, get creative, empower yourself to live an empowered life. It is yours for the choosing. And let nothing or no one stand in the way of your own personal journey into the expansion of empowerment.
That is so good, Laura. So good. Well, thank you so much for the wisdom and the knowledge that you have shared on the show today. It has been my pleasure to host you on the Rock Your World Naturally show, Laura.
I love it. Let's rock empowerment naturally. And thank you, Rekishia. Thank you for your beautiful self and all that you do. And it has been an absolute pleasure to share some life journey with you today.
Oh, likewise, Laura. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I hope that you enjoyed today's episode. I pray that it blessed and challenged you to move towards living the abundant life that God has for you. If so, would you stop right now to share this episode with someone who's been praying to improve their health spiritually, physically, or emotionally? I would love it if you could take 30 seconds to leave a review on Apple Podcasts. This is the only way that I know that you're liking the show. Also, it rocks my world to hear from you. Lastly, come on over to my free community, RekishiaMcMillanCommunity.com, to grab your free gifts. I have everything you need to know about working with me, taking my courses, or connecting. Also, head over to RekishiaMcMillan.com to explore my health products and sign up for free complimentary health coaching. My prayer for you will always be 3 John 2. Beloved, I wish above all things that you prosper and be in good health, even as your soul prospers. I'll see you in a few days. God bless.